Years after the killing of George Floyd and a summer of Black Lives Matter protests, Americans still believe the country needs to overhaul policing. A CBS YouGov poll released last month in the wake of the beating of Tyre Nichols shows a staggering 89% feel that at least some changes are needed to police procedures in the United States. 47% feel that major changes are needed, and only 11% say that no changes are needed. And joining us now, professor of sociology at Colby College and former police officer Neil Gross. He's the author of the new book, Walk the Walk: How Three Police Chiefs Defied the Odds and Changed Cop Culture. Neil, thanks so much for being with us. You are, as just noted, a former police officer, so you're well suited to speak about this topic. There's been this tension between needing to reform police departments. Also, we're often seeing, of course, crime up in portions of the country in recent years. Tell us what you have found about what police reforms have been put into place. What's effective?
So I wrote this book so everyday readers could understand what's happening with policing and what's really necessary for reform. And I think the way that you framed it is exactly how we normally understand that trade-off. We think police reform versus crime. The more police reform you have, the more crime you're going to have. And that's a false narrative. The argument that I advance in this book is that police reform actually is a terrific way of reducing crime. It's actually one of the most effective ways of reducing crime. The more you can increase the trust that citizens have in police, the more they're likely to obey the law, the more likely to report information to cops, the better the cops are going to be at solving cases.
So what are some of the methods there that have proven effective in terms of reforms that would lead to, as you say, less crime?
Yeah. So in the book, I profile three police chiefs in three different departments, one in California, one in Colorado, one in Georgia. And all three chiefs made the kind of standard reforms that police department activists have been calling for. They all changed use of force policies, all those kinds of things. But they also focused on something that we haven't talked nearly enough about in this country, and that's cop culture. There's a culture that I learned when I was joining the force. It was a culture of an us versus them mentality, a focus on danger, the idea that you should never call out your brothers in blue. And all three police chiefs recognize that while changing policy is crucially important, if you don't change police culture on the ground, none of those changes are going to stick. So all three did different things to alter that culture, to push it forward in better directions towards social responsibility, toward emphasizing the importance of being humane on the ground, toward the idea of efficiency and professionalism. And because of that combination of cultural change and policy change, all three were able to really move the needle on police behavior.
So on the idea of cop culture, two items there. First, how much is race a part of that? And then secondly, there was some police departments after George Floyd, in the protests that followed, officers were seemingly less inclined to engage in their jobs.
Yeah, I do think race is part of the story. If you look back at classic studies of police culture, which I touch on really lightly in the book, certainly if you go back to the 50s and 60s, that us versus them mentality was always closely wrapped up with questions of race and racial inequality. So as you change cop culture, the more that you talk about ideas like racial reconciliation, racial trust building, and make that part of the culture, that's crucially important. But I think you're also right that after the George Floyd protests, there was some pullback on the part of police departments from everyday behavior on the street. Whether that caused an increase in crime or whether the increase in crime that resulted was a consequence of the declining trust between police and law enforcement, I think is an open question still.
So you talk about the three police departments. These reforms, should they be done on that level, the local level in each individual jurisdiction, or are there things that can be done legislatively either on the state or federal level?
Policy change in law enforcement is a complicated matter. I think at the federal level, it seems like there's not much chance right now that the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act is going to pass as a total package. It seems like there's some talk about particular bits and pieces of it, maybe getting some leverage across the aisle. Most of the reform that has to be done takes place at the state and local level. The argument I make in the book, and I think there's really compelling evidence for it, is that change in policing is a double-edged sword in this country. It's a super decentralized system, thousands and thousands of police departments. That means that uniform change across the whole system is hard, but it also means that there's thousands of departments that can be experimenting with different approaches. And the three departments that I highlight, the three chiefs I highlight, they were all experimented. They all were kind of creative and innovative, listened to folks in the community who wanted to push policing in a different direction. And I think it's time that we elevate the voices and the experiences of departments like that are really innovating, experimenting.
It's a crucial and timely read. The new book, Walk the Walk, How Three Police Chiefs Defied the Odds and Changed Cop Culture. It is out next week. Neil Gross, congrats on the book. Thank you for joining us this morning.